Welcome back to the Road Show this morning in the Buzz. You may have already heard about this, but now it's gaining national attention. Actually, I've had relatives from all over the place call me up and say, I've heard about this. Little Rhodey, the country's smallest state, actually has the longest official name. It's actually called the State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations. And now there's a push to drop Providence Plantations from that name, and that push has advanced farther than ever. In fact, last week, House lawmakers voted 70-3 to let residents decide whether their home should simply be called the State of Rhode Island. All this because many feel that the formal name conjures up images of slavery. Now, of course, there are opponents, too, who say it's unnecessary, rewriting history that ignores Rhode Island's tradition of religious freedom and liberty and tolerance. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Rhode Island House lawmakers, they could vote as early as tomorrow?
Well, number one, I think it's right that the people should decide.
Okay.
I don't think lawmakers should decide. Number two, I haven't heard an outcry from the African-American community, one way or the other on this.
Right.
So I'm not sure about Providence Plantations conjuring up the idea of slavery.
Right.
But I'll err on the side of, if it does, I still think the name should remain.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. We cannot forget who we are and what we've been, good, bad, or indifferent. I was to Poland, and if you were going to level anything, you would have thought you would have leveled the concentration camps.
Right.
They're still there for a reason, so that you never forget. And I believe that if the name does conjure up, and if that was the reason why Providence Plantation was there, that should still be part of Rhode Island history. Even though we no longer engage in that, it is part of the history. And if you wipe away all of history of slavery, for generations down to come, what is there to remember?
What do you think, Michelle?
Well, I think what are we going to say in Trivial Pursuit?
Right.
It's a great Trivial Pursuit question, right?
That is true. Puts us on the map a little bit.
But on a serious note, I think, let the people decide. I think it's a great idea. And I'm with you, Vince. There's history, good and bad, in our country, in our state, in our own hometowns, and we have to remember that. But like a lot of the sports teams that dropped the Indian names, exactly.
Right.
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for us to say, do we need it?
I will say
But the point is, nobody uses it.
Right.
Until this was all brought up and drudged up, nobody even knew that was really. If you ask the average Rhode Islander the full name of the state of Rhode Island, I guarantee you 9 out of 10 could not tell you it was Providence Plantations.
Do you really think so?
Absolutely.
I think. Go ahead, Michelle.
I was just going to say, what do you think people will vote? Do you think it'll get dropped? I mean, we have our opinions.
I think
I believe it will not get dropped.
And I'll tell you why. Only because, Rhode Island is a very rare state in the country where people really hold on to their history. They give directions as in, turn left at the place that used to be the movie theater.
Right.
And, people...
If you're not from Rhode Island,
you have no idea where you're going.
The old Ann and Hope.
Yeah, but I think the old Ann and Hope.
Right, exactly.
But I think that people really cling to the history because there are so many people who have lived here generationally. I will also say this. The people who are against changing the name have said in the past that Providence Plantations, simply the name, refers to the heritage of Providence and the way that the state grew out of these plantations that were down by the river and farming, and then, grew up onto the hills and that sort of thing.
And had nothing to do with slavery in and of itself, because back in the day, that's what they didn't call them farms, they called them plantations.
Right, right.
We just obviously identify with that because the people who worked the plantations were the slaves.
Right, right. And you're right, I'd like to hear from the African-American community.
I mean, maybe it's out there. I haven't heard from anybody yet. I haven't heard from the NAACP. I haven't heard from any community organizations. I haven't heard from anybody to say, yeah, this is the way we feel, and so I don't know what to think.
Well, I like that we have the smallest name with the biggest gumption.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's great trivia.
The smallest state with the biggest name. Courtney, I wanted to know what people on the blog are saying, because we're really interested in hearing what Rhode Islanders might decide if they are allowed to vote.
Absolutely, and we just got started talking about this, and I've been reading things all over the web this morning, so it's interesting to see what the Roadshow viewers here are saying. And this one is from Michelle, and she says, leave our name alone, that's what the founders called it, and that's how it should stay. Should we change the country's name to just USA, because we don't say United States of America? And then we also have this from Iraq, and he says, let the people decide, but make sure they have all the info too. And we also have a poll here if you all were to vote for, Rhode Island changing its name. And your choices are yes, it's 2009 and it is offensive. B, no, this is our state's name. Or C, I don't care what Rhode Island is called. And you can also read the full story. I have that link on our page as well. And also our Facebook fans are weighing in this morning, and this one's from Patricia, and she doesn't think they should change the name. She says most people know it as Rhode Island anyway. Think it should stay as it always was. What next? So if you guys want to weigh in, hop on Facebook, hop on foxprovidence.com. But I will be back in 30 minutes with the official poll results.